The universe wants me to talk about this so bad. It wants me to talk about this so bad. That's why I'm here tonight at 7:46 p.m. on a Thursday. You know me, I'm a morning girly. I'm on here at 7 a.m. on a Sunday, but tonight we are here 7 p.m. on a Thursday because the universe has been putting so many thoughts in my head and they've been swirling around, and I've just been itching to sit down in a quiet place and share them all with you and piece together this web of ideas that I've been having in my brain today. There are separate but related topics. The first one is living with intention. This is when it comes to pursuing relationships, especially when you're in a transitory time like me and you still want the good feelings from building relationships with people. It's like, how much do you invest in them? How much do you let yourself get attached to them? I'm talking friendships, romantic, all the above. This definitely applies also to when you are just living in a stable, one place, because we do have the opportunity to meet so many people and think about how we're spending our time really critically. This is something I think about all the time. Time is what I think about, because money we can earn back. We can always get more. Time is something that literally nobody can get back. So I think every day about how to make the most of it. I have found in my life that I cannot happily live too much in one or the other. If I'm constantly living in long-term happiness, I'm depriving myself of little daily joys. For example, I could sit at home every single day and do my work from home and then do my schoolwork from home, and I would save myself the time that it takes to transition from one place to another. If I do that too long, I'm depriving myself of natural human interaction, of exploring new places, just that stimulus. But the upside of that is that I'm very productive. I think I was able to handle everything that I had this semester because that's what I did for several weeks on it. It was just every single day lock in, not really leave my place. So that's one side of it. And then if you're living too much in short-term happiness, you're going out every single night to shop or to hang out with friends, whatever just is short-term happiness to you, then you're not really focusing on your long-term goals. You're not really getting those done. You're not really sitting with yourself in silence and thinking about, okay, what is the narrative I'm building in my life? What am I working towards? Really sitting critically with yourself. I see short-term happiness as just a lot of distractions. And I'm telling you, I know I say distractions with a negative connotation, but I really think that is important for us to have a balance of somewhere in the middle. That is one of my pillars. If you know me, if you hear me talk for 0.2 seconds, balance is going to be my answer to probably 95% of anything. I always think that there is some kind of middle, and I firmly believe that sometimes you have to find the edges of each situation to find the middle ground that works for you. I've been that way with attachment styles. I've been very anxiously attached to where I needed emotional regulation from an individual, and then I swung very far to the other side and I was just, solo, not really sharing my feelings at all. And then I had to find a middle ground where, I put systems in place to where I share my feelings after a certain amount of time and I make sure I do share those feelings. Another one is with food. I swung way, having absolutely no mindfulness when it comes to it. And then I swung way to the other end where I was being super restrictive. And then now I'm in a place where I'm in the middle. But trust me, I've lived so much at both of those extremes in various areas of my life. And that's why I always come back to this balance idea. So when it comes to living with intention, something that I always think about is, okay, what is my goal with this potential relationship I have with this person? Okay, friendship, romantic, what is the goal here? When it comes to romantic relationships, my goal is husband, marry. Okay, great. And so when I meet somebody, okay, I know the feeling that I want. And what I want to talk to you about is there's certain actions that everybody does. Okay, it's not even just romantic, honestly, but this is what's on my mind. So I might be straying more to this specific realm of life. There are specific actions that people can do that make you feel a certain way. What can happen is that sometimes we can conflate the actions for the feeling. I think sometimes we can look at just those actions and say, oh, this person's not paying for this. This person's not, walking on the outside of the curb so that I can be on the inside. They're swearing in front of me. They're not sleeping by the door so that, they're the first ones by the door. They're not doing those things, okay? You could just look at they're not doing those things. And what's the common theme there? All of those things relate to feeling protected. And so that's what I'm saying is, detach the feeling. Are there other ways that they're giving you that feeling? So think about the feeling that you want and the feeling that you're getting from the person. And I think it's important to spend time alone, reflecting, really truly thinking about, how does this person make you feel when you're not with them? Just like when things are really bad and you need some time for the dust to settle, I also think that you need time for the dust to settle after you have an exciting night with somebody or an exciting interaction with somebody, because our brain gets flooded with so many chemicals, and our mindset is it's just clouded. I just feel cloudy. I feel happy. I feel a lot of joy. I love that feeling. And that's exactly why you got to be careful as well, because I think if you don't take that time for yourself and really sit and truly reflect, how is this person making me feel even when the dust has settled? And you got to think about, are they coming back to the reason why you're dating, so that you're dating intentionally. You're not just getting caught up in fun texts, fun nights out, the attention, the oxytocin you get from touching another person. Think about, are you living here with intention? Recognize that, okay, if you have this gut feeling about someone, I always say this, the gut knows, and then the heart and the brain convinces us otherwise. It is okay to live in the short-term happiness or experience short-term happiness with someone if in your gut, I also have a theory that within 3 times of hanging out with somebody, if they're, in my sake, the husband for you or not, okay? I don't think you have to deny yourself just having short-term fun with somebody, but you need to be aware. You need to be aware of, okay, my gut is telling me that this person is not my husband, okay? Once I have that thought about someone, unfortunately, it does not matter what else happens. My gut knows that. My brain and my heart trust me. I think this happens to a lot of people in love, is it convinces us otherwise. And we can live in that state of delusion of ourselves, of ignorance. Maybe you are aware of it, but we live in a delusion where our gut knows. Our gut knows that this is not the person. But because we have these literal primal brain systems in us, where literally your nucleus accumbens is being activated, and that's the same neural networks that are linked with addiction. Like, this is what we're fighting. We're literally fighting our biology. If you are cognizant of this and understand that that's what's going on, that's why you have to be so careful of who you get involved with. We have to think really, really critically about what we're doing here. How you do find that person that is your husband, or insert your noun here, is think about the feeling that you want from them. Understand that people are good but different. This is something that my best friend and I talked about when she was in town, is this concept of good but different. And I think this can also release you from anger that you might have for somebody not meeting your expectations. Expectations is a whole other topic, right? But as it pertains to this, is you are 2 individuals that do not know each other, and you're coming to this partnership with different expectations. And neither one of your expectations is wrong. They are just different. I have certain expectations of a male. You have certain expectations of a female. We're both right. We're just different, and recognize early when those don't align. And then this is why I'm talking about, in order to not just screen every single person out when they don't do exactly the actions that you want, that's why I'm saying focus on the feeling that they give you, and look for ways to be surprised in ways that you might get that feeling that you want in just a way that you don't expect, because you don't know what you don't know. Maybe it's the first time that anybody did this action for you that made you feel like that. So really take the time to reflect and think, oh yeah, they might be swearing in front of me, and okay, that fundamental feeling is respect. I equate somebody not swearing in front of me with a deep sense of respect for me. But maybe to them, this is the Buddhist concept of just, we are ignorant, and that's not a bad it's something that we need to work on, to try not to be ignorant. But I also firmly believe that a lot of the times people are not trying to hurt us. A lot of times it just comes, they're just not aware that that's something that you equate with respect, for example. But let's say they, really take the time to acknowledge your feelings and they ask probing questions to understand why you said something or why somebody made you feel a type of way. They're showing their respect in that way. And I think it's beautiful when we can look for the good in people instead of just having a list of boxes to check. At the end of the day, if this person isn't giving you the feeling that you want, I just want to encourage you to not live in short-term distraction. Like I talked in my happiness pie chart episode, being around other people is such a good distraction for all of the mechanisms that I talk about in an episode I'm working on about love and attachment and why that happens in our brain. I just want to encourage you to think about, it's one thing if you are intentionally hanging out with this person and you know that it's not your husband or what it is to you, and they're also making you feel bad. Okay, that's like, what are you doing? At that point, you're just getting addicted to them. You're not getting short-term happiness. You're not working towards your long-term goal of building a partnership with somebody. So what are you doing? Recognize that early and often. If something is just fun and you can genuinely say that it's not stressing you out, okay, I find it's fun to dip your toe in a little bit, have some fun, have some human interaction. We all know that is important. Recognize when it's actually making you feel bad and get out of that. So yeah, I don't know who needed to hear this, but I have been wanting to film this. I've just been itching to gather up all of these ideas. I was literally just writing down notes all day because I needed to encapsulate this for you. So if you're listening to this, you probably needed to hear it, and the universe put it in my head so that I could say it out loud and put it in your ears. So I hope you're having a good day. It's officially 8 p.m., so your girl needs to go to bed. I will see you in the next one. Okay, P.S. I just looked at my notes and there's one more thing I needed to say. People don't think that they're the bad guy. Think about the situations in your life. Do you think you're the bad guy? Most rational people in most situations don't think that they are the bad guy. Even when you do, quote, bad things, we see our intentions behind our actions. Other people only see those actions. So take it in the example of ghosting. I have been the ghoster and I have been the ghosted. In fact, I might be getting ghosted right now. And the beautiful thing about this is I can come and talk to you about anything that's happening and you can hear from somebody that's going through it in the moment. Having been on that other side, I understand that there's so many things outside of the other person's control that could be making them act the way they do. Only they see the intention behind their actions. And so as much as it hurts, we don't know the intention behind why somebody is acting the way they do. And if we can detach from that, not get so angry and just understand that they have their own thought processes. I'm not saying that you need to accept that kind of treatment. You're accept those actions, but what it can do is it can free you from the suffering from another person's actions. When you realize that they're acting with their own intentions, they are the protagonist of their own story, and you are 100% the protagonist of your story. So just understand you are probably not seeing the full picture behind what's going on, because think about all the times that anytime you do anything, most of us really don't think that we're the bad guy in most cases. Okay, now that's all I really got. And now I gotta go to bed. So I'll see you in the next one.